Hello, it's Kaijan the Icon here, and this video is for any young woman, older woman who is in the dating market and using dating apps. This video is intended to provide you with some key information on how to find a suitable partner while using any dating app. These 4 tips will help you on any app you use, whether you pay for the app or you don't. So if you're looking for a suitable mate on dating apps and you are a female, this video is for you. First, in your profile, there has to be some type of barrier to entry. What do I mean by barrier to entry? In your dating profile, there has to be something that keeps out any and everybody, right? If you look on any website that has credible information, nowadays there's usually some type of paywall. Obviously, there's ways around the paywall, but if you go to, the Wall Street Journal or the Chicago Tribune, there's a paywall to get the information, right? You have to pay. There's a barrier to entry to get the good information, right? If you are a good woman, there should be some type of barrier to entry to speak to you. Now, this barrier to entry could be you paying for the website, right? If you're on Match.com or a higher level dating app, then you already have the barrier to entry in place. But realistically, most of us don't pay for the apps. We don't see that as necessary. Most people have the free app. And if you have the free app, there's a way to do this that can make it playful. So if you're a female, you could put something on your dating app like, $1 for my Instagram, $5 for my Snapchat, and $10 for my phone number. The low number does not indicate that you're low value. It just is showing to the men who want to speak to you that there is going to be some type of sacrifice when it comes to dealing with you. And realistically, any man you want to get into a relationship with needs to understand that there's sacrifices that will need to be made for the relationship. So you want to start foundationally at that point with any man you deal with. You want to start with the understanding that, hey, there's going to be some type of sacrifice with dealing with me in your life, which is a great thing. It's not a negative thing, but there has to be some type of barrier to entry. You can make it playful. You can make it fun. Don't make it too serious because you don't want him to misinterpret the relationship and think you are a sugar baby or a gold digger or something like that. That's why you keep the numbers low, you keep it fun, but you stick to that principle. Like, hey, this is what needs to be done for you to speak to me. Because if you don't have a barrier to entry, then anybody and everybody is speaking to you. And although the amount is very low, that'll give the man a chance to think, like, do I really want to pay $5 to waste her time? Do I really want to pay $10 just to waste her time? Right. And it's a good icebreaker too. You know what I mean? You can send the money back too. It can be a joke, it can be an inside joke. It's just a unique way to start off the relationship, but it's also purposeful and meaningful to show that you're not just up for grabs for any and everybody just because he might be attractive to you and you guys matched. Next, after you've developed a barrier to entry, let's say this guy who you think is attractive, he has paid $5 for your Snapchat and you guys have been snapping for a couple days. Okay, within your dating profile, you should also add a time frame because a lot of the miscommunication comes when are we going to meet, right? How are we going to meet? When are we going to meet? Where are we going to meet? Things of that nature. And the time frame, the male doesn't want to look too thirsty, right? The last thing the male wants to look like is that he's begging for your attention or really wants to see you. He doesn't want to look like that. He wants to become cool, collected, right? And the last thing you want to look like is thirsty, or you don't want to look too desperate for a man. You could be 35, you could be 25, you could be at a different point in your life, post breakup, just been single for a couple years. Nobody wants to look desperate. That being said, you put a time frame in your bio. Obviously, the time frame is up to you. You can change this time frame whenever you want, but the purpose of the time frame is to alleviate the stress on you and him, right? It alleviates your stress because you tell him within 21 days we got to meet. Within 2 weeks we got to meet. Within a week we got to meet. Whatever you feel comfortable with setting as the parameters to speak to you, and the man, most likely, if he's pursuing you, will oblige. Now, no man is going to see a clear-cut time frame and think that that's a negative thing. They're going to be like, oh, this girl's got her stuff in order, right? Which is the perception that you want. You want a man to think that you have your life in order before he speaks to you. Because if he doesn't think you have your life in order, he's going to be more likely to try and manipulate and further get what he wants so he can leave, right? So if you have this time frame, he knows, okay, she's serious. There's a barrier to entry to talk to this woman, and she already knows the time frame with which she wants to be met and spoken to in real life. Um, the other purpose of having this time frame so that you don't waste time, right? No one needs another texting buddy. No one needs another person just communicating with them frivolously. We want purposeful, meaningful communication so we can have purposeful and meaningful relationships. The next thing you want to do, um, pick exactly where you want to meet this man. Now, I know that this takes away some of the Disney Channel Cinderella, you know what I mean, love at first sight. It takes away a lot of that. But you must understand that you're not looking for Disney Channel, you're looking for real life. And when you're looking for real life, that means you have to do real work. And real work means sometimes you got to take the glitter away, you got to take the filters away, you got to get real. If you really want to find somebody, that barrier to entry, boom. He's already showing you he's responsible, willing to sacrifice. Time frame, boom. He's in this process with you. You guys have developed a 2-week, 3-week process. You're in agreement with how things are going. Within that, you already know where you're going to meet, right? And this is dictated by you, right? Women are the standard bearers. You create the standard, you create the barrier to get to you, you create the foundation of the relationship. That being said, don't be put off by this tip, because this tip is really helpful. It's for your safety, and it also gives you, once again, a higher level of respect with the man, because you're not putting him in the traditional position of planning the date. You're saying, hey, within 21 days, this is one of my favorite places. This is where I feel safe meeting you. If you make it to this point with me, if we vibe and we work things out, we can meet up here. By already setting a place up, once again, you're alleviating stress so this man can be himself, right? Also, you can pick a restaurant that's moderate. You don't pick a super expensive restaurant, but you don't pick, a fast food restaurant either. You pick a moderate restaurant where you guys can sit and actually get to know each other, and he's not sitting there feeling like he's getting used for a meal, right? It's okay to have him pay. It's okay if you pay. That's up to you guys and however you want to figure that out. But you picking the space is crucial because it allows me to see, okay, you know what I mean? Me, I could be honest with myself as a man. Can I afford this? If this is her average restaurant, right? Can I deal with this all the time? If you let me pick the restaurant, I might try to impress you at first, but that's not really what I'm trying to do. If you pick the restaurant and say this is one of my favorite places, I frequent here, me reading that as a man, I can say, oh, okay, this is the kind of woman I'm dealing with. And most men with that interface of the app are going to be honest with themselves. You know what? If this is her regular restaurant and I know I can't afford it, I'm just gonna leave her alone. That's Most men are gonna think that way, right? Most logical, rational men. So we will move on. So after you've created a barrier to entry, you set up a timetable for when you want to meet, and you've already outlined the place that you want to go, right? Lastly, leave this out of your dating profile because it's simply not true. A lot of women write no hookups. And as a man reading that, we know you're lying, because if I was Brad Pitt, or if I was Drake, right, or if I was just a billionaire from Saudi Arabia, we were hooking up, and every man knows that. If I was LeBron James, 6'8", tatted up, you know what I mean, strong and rich, you'd be trying to hook up. So writing no hookups is backwards, right? You don't need to say it, right? We're aware that you're not a prostitute. We're aware that we're not just gonna meet you and get it. You know what I mean? Even though sometimes that is the case, but whatever. I'll move on. Writing that in your profile, it makes things awkward. Like, why are you mentioning this? Like, obviously, it's a possibility unless you're a virgin. So you write something else, right? What you write in your profile is something like, not in a rush to hook up, not a priority right now, but for the right person, it's a possibility. Or you write something softer, something that lets it be known that that's not your main focus, but it's not off the table. Because you could be turning off guys who are looking for a relationship, but they're not trying to, wait 2 years or be put through the ringer or jump through all these hoops simply to get to a certain level of intimacy with you. Now, this may seem like, oh, coming from a man, you just want me to put it out there. Absolutely not, right? Because you're not promising anything. There's no timeline on this, but there needs to be a road to getting to intimacy, or not needs to be, I suggest you provide a road to get there so that a man can clearly see his goals, right? You want a goal-oriented man. You don't want a man who's just going to be willy-nilly and be dishonest, because for you to write no hookups and for him to be like, oh yeah, I'm cool with that. He's not cool with that. He's not cool with that. He's just saying that to get in your good graces to then try to hook up with you later. And that's to me what makes it awkward. So there's no need to put no hookups. You can just word it differently. Hey, hooking up, not a priority right now. Something that we can discuss later. If things go well, if the vibe is right, if our goals and we're on the same page, if that is the case, we can see where things go from there. Totally respectable. No one reads that and says, oh yeah, this is going to be easy. They read that as a man, and you have to respect the standard that was set by the woman, right? So you can still have a standard, but to write no hookups, unless you're a virgin, unless you're on Christian Mingle and you're a virgin, leave it out of the dating profile. It's 2023. We all know what we're here for on the dating apps. Obviously, it's not just about intimacy, but it's a big part of it, because would you match with me if you thought I was ugly? Like, who's matching with somebody they find unattractive, right? So that's my last tidbit on that. That is the fourth tip. And with all these tips, if you put them together, you should definitely attract a quality man. A quality man will understand, you know what I mean, all the things that you put in your profile to weed out guys who are not worthy. As a man of quality, you'll read these four tips in a woman's profile and you will oblige if you see that she is of worth to you, right? You never want just any and every man talking to you, because most men on dating apps, they don't even read the profile. So with this put into your profile, if they do read it, right, you can see, okay, you actually care. You actually want to get to know me. Something about the way that I look and the things that I wrote attracted you, and we can go further. That being said, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Thank you for listening, and I hope that this helps some of you find a quality mate. I see that this has been an issue. I brought this up to several women, and I felt that a video needed to be made about it. I will talk to you again. Thank you very much.